Hey everybody, welcome back. Spring is on its way, literally weeks away. I think it's time to bring out one of the accessories that I had for the fish last year. It's been in storage all winter and I made a few little changes to it and it's going to go in a different place. If you've not seen this before, you've not seen my upside down aquarium, fish viewing tower, whatever you want to call it, grab a brew, sit back, I'll show you how to do it. Welcome back to Quick Band Lifestyle. So, fish viewing towers, upside down aquariums, whatever you want to call them. This is what I had in my pond last year. Tried it out last year, worked really well. Fish love it. It's great if you've not got one of these windows, because it gives you another means of being able to see the fish and interact with the fish. And once the fish get used to it, they love it. These are the kind of things that the fish get up to. You can get loads of them in it. They come playing in it, and once they get used to it, you can stand real close to them. It's dead good. It gives you something else to look at. But how did we fix it in? First of all, obviously, you've got to get your aquarium. So I picked this up off eBay. I think it was about 30 or 40 pounds. It's a hexagon shaped. It's a 70 litre. I wanted to get a really, really large tank because I wanted to get as many of the big fish to go in there as well. However, when you're putting this together, you've got to be aware that there's a lot of weight in there. So for example, I think 70 litres is equal to around about 70 kilograms. So it's a lot of weight that's going to be in that pond. So that's going to be one of your big considerations. If you're putting these things in, it's great to have a very, very large aquarium in because you can get loads of fish in and then. But how are you going to get it fitted into the pond? So this is what I did. So because I've got a pond that's raised above the ground, I've got the ability to potentially either put it in the pond and rest it on the bottom somehow, but because I've got sloping sides, would it fall over, would it topple, could it harm the fish? The other way I thought of looking at it is, could I hang it off the side? So it would literally just be hanging there over the water so the fish could float up inside it. So I went for the hanging option. Now if you've got a pond that's ground level, then virtually the same thing. I believe you could hang it off the side, depending on if you've got some vertical sides. You could maybe adopt this same way. But other than that, you could make a frame that stands on the bottom. I know a lot of people you look on the websites and others have just put some blocks in, some cinder blocks or some timber blocks and rested it on top. The thing you've got to be really, really aware of is that you don't harm the fish as they try to get past whatever it stood on and into the aquarium. So you've got to be really careful with that. It's like when you've just fiberglassed your pond. You know, you go through every millimetre looking for that little bit of fiberglass that's sticking out and spend a lot of time doing that. So anyway, let's look at how we get it all made up in this other thing. So first of all, like I say, I looked at hanging it off the side of the pond. So I was going to have something that would kind of up, across and then down, and then it would sit over the top here. So first of all, we had to make a frame. Let's get that made. So, got your aquarium, got your shape, just have to make your shape. So all I did then, draw around the aquarium to give me a template, because what you have to start with then is the rim. So once you've got your rim made out, now I used angled iron, stainless steel angle iron. I wasn't sure if I was going to be able to paint it or not, put it in the pond, but you'll see later what I've done with it. So I used a bit of stainless steel. The only thing is you've got the welding spots that you have to protect somehow, because they're sitting underwater or exposed to the elements for the season. Now with these aquariums, you can leave it, once they're in, you can leave them all summer. Just leave them in there because the fish will get used to them. Some people sort of put them out for special occasions where they get friends around or whatever, but I just put it in and leave it. So let me show you what I did with the frame. Okay, so this is the frame that I use. Like I said, I started off with the shape of the aquarium. This gives me the base of where I'm going to do it from. Then I was looking at hanging over the sides. So I then created this, and this gap here is the same gap as the side of my pond. So then that was attached to that, pretty simple. So all I've done now is made that, attach this to the side of it, but because it's hanging against the side, I've now had to put these bars on. So this is actually where it will hang over the side of the pond. Now, because there's a lot of weight on these things, you've got to be aware that you're going to need some sort of a structural, something that's going to hold the weight up, because like I say, they've got about 70 kilograms of weight, depending on the size of how it's going to go in. So I put these strengthening bars on. These weren't stainless, these were just mild steel that I had to weld on. Something else you've got to be very aware of with these as well, if you are going to do one, is you've got to go through every millimetre with the back of your hand, wherever the fish are going to go, to make sure there's no weld spatter, there's no sharp edges, there's nothing that the fish can harm themselves on, because they kind of swim through every angle to come in to the aquarium. And like I say, if you didn't have a raised pond, you could still put one of but you had vertical sides on it. I suppose you could still put one of these in, but just make this shorter. So the side bit, you could make this not as long, so it still goes down into your pond, but this bit could lip over your coping stone, and then maybe drive it into the ground and concrete it in. I don't know. The thoughts are endless. So I'll just give you another couple of angles at it. So what I've done for this year is, because I'm going to move it, I've got a bit of a lighting project on this year. So I'm going to look at moving it to a different part of the pond. Now, the pond that I used to have it in was this side, which was the back end of the pond, and you couldn't see these frame bits. So you couldn't see the bits that were hanging down the back. So as you can see, I've got 3 different colours here. I've got a green, a dark green, a slate grey, and then a very, very light grey. Now, if you look behind me at my pond, the pond walls are this colour. The copers that I have are this colour. And the fiberglass inside is this colour. So I'm trying, whether it's going to work or not, I don't know. I've not put it in yet. But I'm trying to sort of hide the frame, so it looks like this thing is just sort of floating in midair. And I've done a similar thing to the aquarium as well. So if you look at the aquarium as well, I've painted the outside of the top the same colour as the fence. So I'm kind of hoping it will kind of blend, and all you'll see is a block of water. Okay, I can't get rid of these lines here, because that's just where it joins, unless I had a complete circular one. You know, I've seen a lot of people online at the moment making these upside down vertical filter things. Maybe if you've got a big tube, then great. Now this is glass. Was going to go for perspex or a plastic, but then you've got to clean these things. So you have to do it in glass, because the perspex just scratches, because you do have to try to get the algae off. It gets a lot of algae on, depending on the weather. It's real sunny, they get a lot of algae on them. So let's see if we can get it back in the pond and see how it fits. Okay, just one thing to point out before I put this frame in is, because, like, as I said, there's a lot of weight that goes on these frames, and there'll be a lot of weight pushing as it cantilevers itself into the, is that the word, cantilever? I don't know. Anyway, as it pushes itself with the weight into the fiberglass, is I've put some old, found some inner tube off a push bike that I've placed onto here, that will basically, this will be the bit that pushes against the wall, so it shouldn't damage the fiberglass. And again, you know, it makes sure that the fish don't hurt themselves as well. So let's get this thing put in. So see, it slides down on the side. So as I said, what I've done is I've tried to paint the sides here, the tops, so that blends with the top, and also the backs, so the back kind of blends with the back. So hopefully it looks good, and it fitted really well then. Now, once you've put this frame in and you've got it in the water, when you're measuring up to get the measurements between the edge and the top, you have to make sure that the frame, the whole of the frame that the aquarium is sitting on, is underwater. This is around about 1 inch. So at my top end, I've got 1 inch underwater. So keeping this thing underwater and making sure that the aquarium base stays underwater means that no air can get back in. So let's get the aquarium on and see how it goes. She's in. So the aquarium, now we've got it on, all we're going to do is get the water into the aquarium. So how do you do that? Show you. Okay, so what we've got now, piece of hose pipe. There's a number of ways you can do this. You can get a pond vacuum and just basically suck it out. But to be honest, I just use a bit of hose pipe, because by the time I've got my vac out, plugged it in, got it all rigged up, I can have this filled. So yeah, a bit of hose pipe, pushed up inside the aquarium. Make sure you blow the water out first, because you've just got a lot of water in your pipe. You don't want to be sucking on that. And then now basically just suck the air out. See, there it is. It's full. Now, there's a few things I need to point out with these fantastic little toys for the fish to play in. Is what you've got to remember is I've now got 70 litres of water in here that used to be in the pond. So expect your top up trickle in to turn on when it does, because you're just taking 70 litres out of your pond in one hit if you get this size. Depending on what size you get, really. I don't use this through the winter. As soon as the weather starts turning cold, I'll take it out, get it cleaned up and get it stored away, because otherwise cold weather hits these and this just becomes a big block of ice and then breaks, and then you've got to buy another one, and then you've got glass in your pond, and then you've got to start fishing that out as well. But once you get them in, what you'll find is the fish not interested at all. It's this, they just don't know what it is, don't know why it's there, and so on. So the best way to get it in, take a little bit of a top tip, is basically just get a bit of food in your hand and just put it underneath, get the floating food, and then let it go in the aquarium. So the food is floating at the top of the aquarium. Fish will smell it, and up they go to collect it. And once they've been up there a couple of times, they just get used to it after a while anyway. And then sometimes you'll be like this, stood right next to it with your fish here, watching your fish float around. Fantastic. If you have people around, you'll have a look at your pond. It's one of the big focal points. Wow, look at that, how does that work? Show me, flipping heck. Okay, so you got the water in, but how do you get it out? Same method really, hose pipe, inside the aquarium, like this. Now with this one, you've got to do it controlled, because you don't want air glugging straight back in, it could crack the glass. So keep your thumb over the end, give it a blow, get rid of the water out of your hose pipe. Stick your finger over the end, and then slowly let it go, and down she goes. Now cleaning them, everybody says, oh, don't put one of them in, they're a nightmare to clean. Not really, no. Literally, it takes what, about 15 seconds to empty it. Take it off, and then you've got another week or so, again depending on the weather. If it's really, really sunny, like we had a really good summer last summer, and yeah, I was probably taking this off and cleaning it maybe once every 7 to 10 days, because you start seeing a green tinge inside. But like I say, it's a 5-minute job, it's nothing major. And then when it's not so sunny, it'll last for ages. It's like the window I have on, similar thing. So yeah, why not have a go at these? Fantastic. Now what about night time? Because obviously you want to see your fish all the way through, you're getting your trendy lights around your pond. What about doing these? This is something simple that a friend of mine actually gave me. Oh, Stevie down the road. If you're going to put some light into the aquarium, you can get one of the little battery lights, turn on and off, and literally just place it on top of your pond. It looks like this at night time, so you can actually see your pond and your fish in the tank at night time as well. Cracking little job. These are from Amazon, type Amtech in, or type battery powered light. I just use this in my filter system to do this. So at night time I can see in my filter systems. So use it for a multitude of ideas. So there you have it. The upside down aquarium, the floating fish tower, whatever you want to call it. there it is. This is how you make it, that's how you fit it. If you've got any questions, list them below and I'll try to answer where I can. If you like the video, please click the like, subscribe down the bottom there, share to all your friends. Thanks very much for watching. This was an aquarium on Quick Pond Lifestyle.